We are going live here, admitting some people as they pop into the Zoom room. Hi, all. Hey, good morning, Diane. So, hello. I'm just so excited. Today's day one of the Firestarter Challenge. It is a 5-day journey to spark greater energy, passion, freedom, and fun. How's that sound? Anyone care for a little bit more zestiness in their lives? Just to say hello. This is super casual, guys. I'm all about the interaction and the experience of this, and that's to me one of the most gratifying bits of this is to be able to have interaction with you. So at any time, feel free to unmute yourself. Just dive in if you've got questions, if you got anything you want to contribute, feel free to dive in with this kind of information. This is my joy. So I'm Kathy Basel. I'm a transformational life coach. If you don't know me already, I like to work on an energetic level. This is my jam, if you will, helping people to understand that we are energetic beings. And if you are experiencing anything less than full, like energy and vitality, then it just means that there's something blocked somewhere, someplace in time. And together, that's what this 5 days is intended to do, is to help you with 3 of the pillars that the way that I approach healing, transformation, and up-leveling your life. So essentially, it's about getting a big, juicy vision of what it is. What's this life about that you really want to experience? A lot of times people just aren't clear on what it is that they truly want in their lives. So when we get that juicy vision that you want your life to be, that vision begins to pull us forward. And we're going to be talking a lot about that tomorrow. The second day is all on creating your passion. So getting that juicy vision. When we have a vision, we're moved by inspiration. We don't need motivation to step into that life. Secondly, is to releasing those things that don't vibe at that level 10 vision for your life. Here comes May. Here's somebody. I know you got big visions that you're cooking up. So the second thing, so first we get that big juicy vision, a level 10 life. What does that look like, feel like, smell like? Secondly, we're going to release those things that aren't a vibrational match to that. So we're going to be talking about universal laws and how we align energetically to that. You may have heard about the law of attraction, but truly the primary law underneath that is the law of vibration. Are we vibing at an energy level that is resonant with that level 10 life that you're calling in? And then thirdly, it's becoming that person, becoming the vibrational match. It's putting it into practice. So we can practice things. We might have knowledge, we might have read some information, or we're familiar with the law of attraction, but if you're not getting the results, chances are there's a disconnect. So we want to move from practice, like kind of theory, into practice, meaning let's experience that. And that's what we're going to be doing here today. And then moving that into the becoming bit of it. So I'm going to share my screen, because they say that a picture says 1,000 words, right? So let's start with a picture here, from the beginning. So this is one of my favorite questions. There's me. My business I call the Vitality Code, because I believe we're not just meant to have a good life or a healthy life. We're here for full out vitality. And if any of you are familiar with Mary Oliver and this beautiful question, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So this is a beautiful thing. Like, we are here just for this one full expression of our fullest life. So what is it that you plan to do? So I'm going to show the second one, and then I'd like to hear a little bit from anyone who may be willing to share. I love this visual because it, to me, represents everything that energy is. I love this woman in the center. She's looking centered. She's here well plugged into the earth. The earth is here as our greatest conscious facilitator. It's evolving, changing. It's here to facilitate our energy exchange as well. So she's well grounded, she's pulling energy, she's receiving energy, she's giving energy back to the earth. And then this beautiful vision of being interconnected with everything around us. I wanted to stop that share real quick. And I actually kind of like to hear from you all. If you could have anything. Like tell us, pop in the chat if you would. What's your name? Where are you in from? And if you could have one thing from today or this week, what is it that you would like? And I'm gonna pop in here also. If you haven't already, you should have received the I'm gonna pop in here the link to, oops. We've got the workbook. So each day of the 5 days, we're going to hop on here for maybe 30-40 minutes to kind of chat about some of the concepts. And each day you'll receive a playbook, as I call it, with some practical exercises just to get you in that body feeling, that sensation of what it is that you want to be experiencing. Hi, Michelle. Okay, so good morning. I'll be listening in today. Well, very good. Whoops. And we've got Miss Jacqueline popping in to join us as well. May's cooking up some big things. I hear she's brewing up a summit coming up in fall sometime. And Miss Diane is launching new services in her business and has a move coming up to Chicago. So that's pretty darn exciting. And hey, Jacqueline, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you. And I'll pop in there one more time. There's the link to the playbook if you haven't already received it. So Diane's looking for clarity and some ease in the move. Definitely. So I love that, because when we're aligned with that vision, and that's when we relieve all the emotional or the mental baggage that we might have about, is this the right thing? Am I worthy of having this? Then that's when things can flow with ease. So wanted to go back real quick then and share my screen, my little girl here. And this is my target. So I've got big ideas for us for this week, is to step into what I call energized tranquility. So by that, I mean that we can have both. I think a lot of people feel like they are depleted in energy, and we're going to be talking about many ways in which life sometimes, or the way we're thinking, can drain us of energy. So what we're going to do is reverse that. We're going to begin piling on things that begin to bring you energy again. And then the second thing is tranquility, a sense of peace and groundedness, just like this picture kind of suggests for us. So I wanted to just walk us through an experience so you can feel this. And Jacqueline, would you mind just muting yourself, or maybe I can mute you?
Mute me. Oh, I see it. I see it. I'm sorry. I'm
No worries.
I'm getting a fan. I'm hot.
Oh, you are so hot. We're going to stoke you up. This is a Firestarter challenge, girl. So we're here to stoke you up. But first and foremost, I wanted to give us a felt sense of what I mean when I talk about energy. So energy is all around us. I believe this picture suggests is that there's energy all around us, and is for us to plug into. A lot of times when we think in terms of energy, we're thinking only in terms of this physical, but I want us to expand our awareness to know that we are this physical. There's a thinking level of energy around us, an emotional energy, and then ultimately it's this big, beautiful, bright spiritual energy that's around us and available to us all the time. Our essential selves lives and plays in the spiritual level and is here to inform us of all the goodness that's happening. So anyways, just for now, take a nice deep breath. Kind of sit into your body. Kind of say, hello, body. How can you better nourish your body, mind, and soul today? Now imagine feeling into your body and saying hello, being grateful for your body, knowing we're all interconnected. Imagine putting out that awareness of your energy to all the other people on this line. whether they're here live with us or on the Facebook watching live at this moment in time, or those who may be watching the replay later. Extend your energy to all of them. Just like this picture suggests, interconnectedness. Give a hello. Give a thank you to all the people who are joining us energetically. Imagine extending that sweet hello, past, present, future, knowing that energy transcends time and space. It's available to us. All right. Take a nice deep breath. And you can see how quickly, just by using our focus, we're able to come into more of this state of tranquility. Awesome. Oops. And it's not allowing me to forward. So I'm going to hop out of here quick and pull up my screen and go on to the next one from here. So this is my jam. I love studying this kind of stuff, and I've followed all kinds of different teachers. Hopefully this will allow me to forward. Nope. It's not the right photo. Oops. Sorry about that. Oh, close the wrong one. One more time if I can share this right. There we go. So this is image that I think can be one of the most life-changing images. It's so funny, this little stick figure guy. And this is by a practitioner that I met, gosh, probably a decade ago. Sue Mortar was out here. She's a bioenergetic practitioner and healer and does all kinds of amazing work in her facility. Whoops. There we go. So this is the message above all, that we are spiritual beings having a human moment. I think we've all kind of heard this before, but we don't necessarily live into this. So the reminder for today is to remember that we are all these things. The purple line here is kind of that physical. So that's what we're identifying with most regularly. Then we've got this mental layer outside of that. We've got emotional layers outside of that. And then we also have spiritual, that bigger thing, part of us that is available to express at all times. And this is what happens to us in life. We've got different experiences that at different points in time may have interrupted the flow of energy coming in and out through these layers. And so there's different beliefs that might come up. The ones that I see most commonly, and pretty much every session that I do emotional release work to help people release what I call the pee under the mattress. We all have our own individual childhood wounding in one way or another that began programming that maybe at the time was in a great sense a great protection for us, but at some point in time it becomes something that actually keeps us from the very good that we're trying to call in. So some of the things that I see all the time, every session, is programming around I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I don't belong, I'll never amount to anything, it's not safe. So you can imagine if you were walking around, you're trying to manifest this thing, let's say, you know, a new career. I'm just going to use that as an example, or maybe a new health. You want to improve your health if you've got health challenges. But if you're having an experience feeling that the world is not a safe place to be, we're going to have protection mechanisms that can actually shut us down. It's good for a time, but if we keep ourselves shut down too much, we're blocking ourselves from this beautiful flow of energy that can come back and forth all the time. This might look like a low-grade anxiety, like I'm afraid of what might happen if I try and I fail. It might look like fear. Maybe I'm just uncertain. I'm afraid to take steps. Fear can lead to things that look like procrastination. I won't get the project done so that I don't have to risk not being successful at something, not being accepted because of the work that I've done. It might look like hopelessness and depression. We're seeing so much of that after COVID because we're disconnected. We're searching for ways in which our life is missing the meaning. And that's what we're going to talk about this week. And then the physical embodiment might actually look like pain. For me, I think it's a simple process to bring ourselves, restore us back to the factory settings. We were born into vitality. Think of kids, man. They are alive. They know how to express what they need and they get what they need oftentimes, right? So if we can reset our factory settings simply by taking out the things that are blocking us from that natural flow. To me, I absolutely love this quote by Rumi. Your task is not to seek for love, but to merely seek and find all the barriers within yourself you have built against it. So here we are, life experiences, scary traumas, the heartbreaks, the failures, the, financial, disasters that happen. And over time, we're collecting these barriers over time. So all we're asking is just to take a break from that and to allow yourself, take those barriers out and restore, breathe back into that space of where abundance flows for you. This is the vision, the visual that I created. I call it the vitality wheel, and this is in your handout. So it's a super simple way for us to recognize that we're more than the body. Again, a lot of times when we're thinking body, we're thinking in terms of this physical thing. And if we'll think in terms of what do I eat and how do I drink? Sleep is super important. And so is times of rest. So we have cycles of doing work and then those periods of rest to rejuvenate our energy. And then movement can both be an expenditure of energy. For me, it's a great renewal of energy when I go on a bike ride, or if I'm out in nature, that is using movement as a way of renewing my soul. But even more deeply than that are some of these other aspects. And this is why I created the wheel, because I think this is where we forget to delve deeply into understanding how we create vitality. It's not something out there that we get to rejuvenate that from within. That begins with this episode down here, the aspect of thinking. There's the universal sayings about everything is created twice, once in our thought and then in reality. So the way we are thinking profoundly affects the way our bodies and our lives are manifesting. If you are thinking fearful thoughts, maybe, the COVID bugs feels like a scary thing. A lot of people will put up a wall of fear, which actually compromises our immune system. But what if you're thinking more abundant things I'm going to use Diane's example. She's moving to Chicago. It's a whole new chapter. There's like an abundance of opportunity awaits her. When she steps into that, her heart is open and she is ready to receive. So what is the thoughts that you're thinking? And here again, 80% of the thoughts we're thinking are happening in our subconscious thoughts. Do you have an inner critic? Have you a monkey mind that maybe is a little quiet or hard to settle down at times? This is where we step into more of a masterful thing of recognizing we're not our thoughts, but also creating the capability to control what thoughts we're feeding ourselves. Are you nourishing yourself? Are the thoughts you're feeding yourself, are they about abundance and safety and creation and play and love? This is the kind of thoughts that we want to nourish. This similarly leads into how are you feeling? So feelings are both emotions and then the felt sense. So if you're feeling pain, sometimes that may be an exaggerated symptom from your body. The word symptom literally means a signal from the body saying that something in your life is calling to be addressed. So bodies are amazing. Man, they'll heal. They will heal as soon as we get the message. And so it always fascinates me how literal a feeling from the body can be. So if you're having a pain in the neck, is there someone that you haven't dealt with that maybe is being an annoyance to you, that is stepping across something that you believe to be true? But we want to cultivate emotions that are uplifting. We'll be talking a lot about that in day 3. So that's all about releasing the things that no longer serve you. So this is the day we'll be talking about the thoughts and the feelings that you can nurture now to live yourself up into a higher vibration, one that is marked by joy and love and kindness. Those are elevating emotions versus where sometimes if we're not paying attention, we can fall into times where we're kind of in routine and we're thinking, just the day-to-day kind of thing. We're only thinking of today rather than elevating our thoughts to what it is that we truly desire. Or maybe we're sinking into some sloppy thinking about feeling hopeless about a situation or an annoyance about something that we haven't been willing to shift out of our lives. And yeah, it's amazing. So much of the work that I do is based with the emotion code, identifying, and we can use body processes to identify where those emotions are actually trapped from those childhood days, those early programmings that you picked up without even knowing it, that are still kind of pinging around in the background. And again, day 3, we'll really dive into this. But continuing around on the vitality wheel, the notion of play and fun, it ties a lot to me into that rest and recovery. We want to be able to do good work in the world, and yet we need to nourish. And this is something I just see oftentimes when we want something, we're going to work harder, and that push mentality that's gotten us through so far just is overrated. Let's just say it's so 2020. Let's put the push work hard to make it happen kind of mentality aside and recognize that we are creative beings. And when we create that space, put our minds kind of on idle, that we've got that spiritual side of us that is ready to inform us. It's there with inspirations. And when we create space to listen to that, that's when inspiration comes. That's when we get those downloads of just the right thing to do and to say, and who should I connect with. So moving around here, we've got connection. And I think, boy, COVID, if it taught us anything at all, taught us that connection is much more important than we've been given it credence up until now. So how are you connecting? Are you connecting with yourself with loving thoughts? Do you treat yourself as kindly as you would other people? But really getting super conscious about how we connect with other people. We say that we become the average of the 5 people we hang around with the most. Get intentional. Who are those high vibe people that you're connecting with? Or look at, are there some people that when you leave their presence, they're actually draining you? We want to get intentional and surround ourselves with people that love and support you, but also leave you energized. Not that you got to cut out the other people. It's interesting because the people who aren't ready to stand in your high vibe may naturally drift away, and it makes space for the ones who are willing to play that bigger game. Make space for them to come in and grace your life. So continuing around, I truly believe passion is really the beginning of how we stoke the high vibration that we're looking for. We want to be driven by a vision of what your life is truly about. Again, COVID was a great time for us to question what really matters to me. What can I bring? How can I find meaning in a new and different way to my life? So passion to me is the ultimate space that I think we don't give enough time to. And tomorrow we're going to dedicate an entire day to passion, the practices that help us stoke that, and how we begin to step into that big vision starting today. And that starts, these two are kind of related to me. Presence is, how present are you willing to be in today? If we're wanting to really master our energy, think of, I love Eckhart Tolle and his power of now. The moment now is the only moment that we can live. We spend and deplete our energy by worrying about the past. So that's energy getting zapped by needless concern with things that have gone by that we can't change now. We can spend some time and get new meaning from them, but endless concern about what has already gone on is a waste of energy. And then also we worry about the future, the things that haven't even happened yet. Did you know that there's a statistic, it's something like 80% of the things that we worry about, we fear may happen, they never happen. And of the 20% that do, 80% of those are never as bad as what we had originally thought, dreamed up in our mind. So would you be willing to let go of the many ways in which we're ruminating about the past or fearing about the future so that you can get impeccable with your energy in this moment now? Our ability to focus our attention, our desire, get clear on that vision, that's where the law of attraction and the power to manifest in your life comes through. And that'll be the last day that we spend together. Day 5 is all about accelerated manifestation. How do we come into alignment energetically with that level 10 life that we're looking to draw in? And if you notice, so those are going around the circle, kind of touches on the whole ofness, the wholeness of us, that body, mind, and soul. And in the center of this is self-love. So if we haven't taken the time to cultivate a concern, this notion of self-love, then honestly, we need to step beyond that. It's kind of funny. When I first got my health coaching certification, I had a notion like that, and they were talking about self-love, and it was interesting because I got the initial ping of like, what does self-love have to do with it? And then of course that was like, oh my gosh, it has everything to do with it. And so then I went into this internal discourse of like, okay, do I love myself? And I'm like, I don't think I don't love myself. So then I kind of went on this journey. Well, what does self-love mean? And it's just interesting because it's just not a conversation we have in this society. And it's one that I think is really so important for us to step into right now, is this notion of self-love. If we're dragging around and having to combat every day, I think Brene Brown talks about, you question your worthiness and then you fight every day to prove it. So it's a beautiful thing when we grow older, we kind of are less and less concerned with winning other people's attention or feeling like we've got to have other people's approval before we do things. We're stepping into living life on our own terms, right? But we do that most fully when we are grounded in a sense of self-love. And it's interesting because it doesn't really take a lot. Just takes take some moments, take that presence, get mindful, spend some time in meditation to consider that for yourself. What does self-love mean for you? So I'm going to stop there for a little break. May, I know that you've been on some amazing retreats. What did you learn about self-love on your journeys?
I think, that we don't take time to, like you said, think about or evaluate it. We say, we love ourselves or whatever, but I think it's how we care for ourselves. Putting all those, that's, I think, what shows that we do love ourselves. When we do self-care in the sense of saying no, when we should be saying no instead of all the yeses. Also our health, taking care of physical things, and emotionally giving us that space. So I think that's when we realize, we do love ourselves because we're caring for ourselves instead of caring for everybody else. Because it's easy to love other people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it brings us joy, right? We've done it for a
Yeah.
long time, but unfortunately we've been like trying to carry everybody else's woes all this time and we forgot to put it down. So chances are you're doing a lot of things in self-love already, but we haven't like kind of labeled it that. Like just acknowledge yourself of here's some of the things, the areas that I am doing well in that category. I'm taking time to whatever, go have girls' night out or whatever that is. Put your own needs first, and we got room for improvement. So what would it be like if you could rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? If you were a level 10 for self-love, what would that look like? When we fill our own loving coffers first and serve others from the overflow, then there's abundance for all, versus, I think we're coming of age. So some of that taking care of everybody else first is, we've been doing it for a long time, but hopefully we're starting to recognize it's like, oh, me first too. So the health concerns will happen if we're not catching up with that kind of stuff. Did you want to chime in, Miss Diane? She lives in Virginia Beach, so she's taking some nourishing time on the beach, communing with birds, listening to the ocean. Nothing like the ocean to fill your soul, right?
Right. Yeah, it's been lovely. Yeah, no, I love this. I love the focus on self-love. And I think for me, it always has so much to do with self-acceptance. That's like the root of it, and really working on that has been really fruitful and helpful to me. So, but yeah, I love everything you're saying, I mean, that's following the passion, and that's it, man. Very cool.
Yeah. And if I can use you as an example, it's a bold move to pick up and move to someplace as big as Chicago without connections. And to me, we'll be diving into this tomorrow with the passion thing of like, when we get that vision, something that calls us that forth like that of, I've got this calling. I think we all have a calling in our life that we chance by maybe have just been kind of giving logic, all the reasons why it doesn't make sense to do this. But it's like, that's your soul's calling. Your soul's calling is saying, let's go to Chicago. I don't know why, but I've got this sense that something is going to happen there, that there's opportunity that I cannot see from where I am at this moment in time. And so that's why it's important for us to get grounded in who we are, recognizing ourselves to be resourceful. We're like children of God, we've got all this, we're interconnected with the creative source that created everything. So it's going to pave the way. But until we take that step forward, until we're willing to pick up and maybe let rationality set aside for long enough, suspend the need to justify it, follow the calling long enough that the next bit of it information can be downloaded. The universe is here to support us. It's conspiring for our good. And to me, that's one of the core shifts. It's like, I think a lot of people walk around, and this is just our society. It's kind of our generation, if you will. I mean, my parents came straight out of they were first generation after the Depression. So there was scarcity. There wasn't, opportunity all around. The world felt like it wasn't safe. And so some of this belief system is a low grade passing on of these beliefs that we don't recognize are kind of harboring. And even though we may have done a lot to move in a different direction from that, if there's an energetic resonance that hasn't been wiped away, chances are there's something that could be slowing you down from stepping into what it is you fully want. And that's what we're going to be getting into. So tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the law of vibration, how you use that passion, elevate yourself to where you're a vibrational match. So the law of attraction says like will attract like. So you don't want to be attracting from a level 5. So if you've still got some gunk in your trunk, we want to make sure we dump that first and then get clear on what it is you want to call in so that we're vibing at that level. Day 3, we'll be talking about emotions and the thoughts and kind of sorting through some of these old ones that were handed down. It's like, oh yeah, we've all got those, these funny things. Like, what were some of the funny sayings? Like, parents, money doesn't grow on trees, or who do you think I am, Rockefeller? And it's funny, we've all experienced those. We think we've kind of cleared the way, but let's energetically let that free from our body, because what we don't recognize is that there's a cellular memory that is still holding on to the resonance, from a vibrational level that this stuff is still generating from. And I wanted to invite you into the handout. So on there's an assessment where you can go through each one of those 9 dimensions and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate yourself? And there's some prompts in there. And here's something that I want you to acknowledge as you walk through this, because There is an inner sage. Your inner wisdom knows exactly what it is you need in order to heal, or to what awareness is next for you to take you to that next stage. As you rate those cells, you'll notice right away, I've got ideas on how, let's say you are on the moving dimension. Let's say you'll say, oh, I've kind of fallen off my routine, so maybe I'm a 6 right now. And it's like, you might get a ping of, I need to move, but wow, my body is really calling for some mind body connection. I might need to go into yoga instead of running, so you'll get a hit. So just write all that stuff down. And then in the handout, you'll see, we want to first celebrate yourself. We're the ones that you're really doing great. We all too often go to a negative, like all the ways in which we're failing. No. You're doing a lot of things great. What you appreciate. So let's celebrate those things first. So we put those under the column on there. It says the happy dance. What are 3 things that you want a happy dance about? And then what are those 3 things that need some TLC? So again, this isn't going to the wrongness or in a judgment of us. That's low vibrant energy. What we want to do is recognize that there's parts of ourselves that we haven't been nourishing as well as others. And that's all it is. Oh, let's spend a little bit more time nurturing some connection with friends, or let's spend a little bit more time maybe in meditation, or meditation in a different way, or whatever that thing is for you. But recognize the hit that you get of inspiration, that inner knowing that's speaking. Because all too often in our world, I think we're falling because we are looking out externally for the answers that only can come from within. So I just want to acknowledge everything that you are seeking, you can find the answers within. If we could make that one shift alone, that could change your life. Trusting your inner intuition. And again, in the days that follow, we're going to dive into that a little bit more deeply. Why isn't it that we're not hearing that voice as loudly? Why is it I don't trust deeply enough to take that bold leap, like moving to Chicago? Why is it that we're being a little conservative in that way, and allow yourself just to dive in and live life with the gusto? You're here meant to live with full zest and vitality. Miss Jacqueline, we haven't heard from you yet. You look terrific, by the way. You're still muted there, my dear.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've been busy.
Yeah.
I struggle with, my passion is my children. And I always get this, well, you got to you got to take care of yourself. But that is my joy.
Mhm.
I have 6 grands and I adore them. And the more time I can spend with them, the better. So I do. I spend a lot of time with them on a daily, weekly basis. So I get conflicted, like, my mother died when she was 49. So
Oh,
to me, family means everything, not material stuff, nothing. So I'm conflicted. Yes, I'm an artist. I take too long to paint, so I get frustrated with it. But my joy is my kids, my grands, and my children, my daughters. So it's a conflict for me. Like,
and what if a conflict to me makes it feel like there's a struggle with that? But as you said,
well,
they are
because
your
everybody's
passion.
saying, well, take care of yourself. That is taking care of myself. That
Exactly.
gives me all the endorphins I need. I think about them when I'm not with them, and that's my joy. So, but I know I have to work on other things.
But I think you've been on a journey of doing this the last few years since we've met, and I think you've come a long way of recognizing. So here's the distinction I think I would make, because I don't think it needs to be a conflict, because that really is, and a lot of us are stepping into this age of having grandkids, and that is our passion, right? So we want to spend it a lot of time. We want to be able to gift in that way. So that's not a conflict. You are expressing your passion by bringing your look at in the wheel. You're having uplifting feelings and your positive thoughts, seeing the world through childlike eyes. How does it get better than that? You're playing again, you're expressing creativity in the ways that you come together. Maybe you're finger painting with them, whatever it is. Look at all the different aspects of that wheel you just nourished by spending time with these grandkids. So I don't see that as a conflict. Where it crosses the line is if you are doing it at the expense of your own well-being. So if you are not painting, if painting brings you joy too, and you're not painting because you're spending all your time with the kids, or you're doing all their chores, like you've become the taxi grandma or something like that, at the expense of your own well-being. Like say you're giving up a, I don't know, doctor's appointment or something to go take the kids to, to Baltimore for a soccer tournament, whatever it is, if it's at the expense of your own well-being, we just want to recognize, and we get to ebb and flow with that too. Maybe there's times where you say, okay, this weekend, I'm not seeing the fam. This is me weekend. I'm gonna hang with girls, or I'm gonna go have a spa day, or I'm gonna meditate somewhere, read my books. I'm gonna paint, whatever
I
that
guess
is.
it's not a
So
conflict. It's making
no,
time.
it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. It can be. It can be.
Well, I'm getting the messages out from like this and everywhere. You got to take care of yourself, but that is my self love. That's my joy. So, but I
Yeah.
do need to find time for me as well. I don't know. That's my conflict. It's like, am I supposed to spend more time with me? But my joy is more time with them. So that's my conflict. Anyway. But I'm happy with them. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, we all get to dial in that balance, and it might shift from day to day, week to week, month to month. Where's that happy space for you? Do you need to have other people in your life? It might be a nice balance, and that's something only you through journaling and self-inquiry can find that right balance.
Yep, I'm ready to do the work.
Awesome. Well, the handout will walk you through some of that. And then the last bit on that is that we get to consciously choose the energy with which we show up. And so that's what that last page is it's giving you a spark of some energies that you might want to step into. So Diane, what do you mind if I pick on you? What kind of energies you'd like to step into, Miss Bold, making the leap?
I think ease is my biggest one. I really want it to feel easy, and I want all the unknowns to feel, fine. And I just want to feel confident in it, and just easy. Yeah.
And so where our attention, goes, our energy flows. So that if you look at that last page, there's a bunch of words that you can choose from. And I bet every single one of them on there is ease and flow and confidence and bold. All of those things, creativity, all of those things are there for our choosing. So circle the ones that make sense for you. And in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little kind of like a star, and you can write those in. So write down the words that are calling to you right now to step into. Cut that out and put it on your computer or on your refrigerator, wherever it is, and recognize, take a moment. That's all it takes, is a little bit of moment to plug in intentionally to what it is you want to feel, conjure it from within. It's like, hey, yeah, that's just like me. We're creating an identity. I am bold. I am confident. I am strong. I'm resourceful. Like, there's what can really happen? What's the downside of taking this leap towards the life I really want to live? Dating. Oh my gosh, I went on on Match.com, talk about being bold, but I want to be grounded in who I am, and still optimistic. There's a lot of reasons not to be optimistic from some of the stories I hear out there. So I can make my one that just pertains to my Match.com journey right there. But anyways, the bottom line is, I want you to know that you get to choose, you get to conjure within yourself those emotions, those strengths, those pillars that you want to step into, and they get to change all the time. So what are yours today? Are they the same tomorrow and next week? Choose it and be it, because we attract based on the energy we are predominantly showing up with. And we're going to be talking about consistency, stepping into that high vibe, passion, emotion tomorrow, and creating your life from there. So does anybody have any questions or anything else? Or thank you. In love and light, Miss May. She's off to an appointment, but thank you so much for coming and contributing your energy here, and all the goodness of you just being here and sharing your energy. Smile to yourself and play with the energy as you go about your day. If you're standing in line, say at the grocery store, and everybody else is perturbed, take a little smile and see if you can project that smile to somebody else. We're more interconnected than we know, and you're choosing goodness and self-love or joy or boldness for yourself. is the ripple of change that we need in the world. So I'm grateful for you and the change you're willing to be. So hope to see y'all tomorrow, same time, same bat channel.
Thank you so much.
And if you got questions, feel free to just post them in the Facebook page. I'll be popping in there throughout the day, and feel free to DM me if there's something secret you want to share. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, beautifuls.